But okay, Sam, should we watch a little bit of just to get the juices flowing?
Oh,
Watch a
sure.
little
Yeah.
bit.
You know who else lies? Joe Rogan and his hosts all the time. I mean, and his guests. They've lied about me many times. He's had tons of guests who come on and say things that aren't remotely true. Dave Rubin went on there and told about half a dozen lies himself. Outrageous lies that never happened. Did Joe Rogan ever push back on that? No, he doesn't mind, as long as people are lying about people that aren't his friends, right? Or him. When somebody's lying about him, he's like, oh, he's all aghast, right? Somebody lies about me on his show, he loves it, he's there for it. So hey, spare me your BS outrage, okay?
Okay, that's the first thing,
stop.
right? That's the first one. I don't understand why Joe Rogan should care as much when people attack Cenk than when they say something about him. I mean, obviously he doesn't care as much about something bad being said about you, or he doesn't even know if it's a lie or if it's the truth. So I mean, I don't know what he was connecting that to.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I mean, it's just he's so angry. That's the funniest part. It's just he's so animated in his anger. But I would say, like, he may be even right, but I do think he, like, CNN is different from Dave Rubin, isn't it? And it has a slight larger reach. And he was talking about CNN. He wasn't talking about specific individuals. From what I've seen, I haven't seen the whole thing. So yeah, I would say, but it was so funny though, because you start the video. I mean, just forget about the substance of it and all that.
There's no substance in this
yeah,
video.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
just funny.
okay,
But
he's
you
obsessed
start
with
the video,
the.
and he's so angry, and it's just like, and he starts with this personal matter regarding himself. So
Yeah.
you know that it's a very personal thing. But yeah, that was like the funniest. Like, I think it felt like a 2 shots of espresso as soon as I started the video. Like, yeah, he lies. He's host. He's guest. I mean, he's goddamn everybody lies.
Yeah,
It was quite fun. He keeps getting angrier, surprisingly, till like 70% through the video.
yeah, I mean,
it's a constant.
Yeah, no, he's super
Sorry, go ahead.
angry in this video. And I mean, on this channel, we don't even want to talk too much about the disease because, of course, like, there's already issues with YouTube. You talk about the like demonetize it, and we talk about it so much anyway, like outside in life. So like whatever, we're not missing out on much. But this video, you can watch it and analyze the video and talk about it without mentioning that disease. Really, because he claims that this is what Dr. Gupta should have said to Joe Rogan, but I'm glad he didn't, because it wouldn't be productive. Imagine if he was as pissed off as Cenk is. But let's watch a little
what
more.
Did he? Do we have to watch? But what is his thing? Yeah, I don't get what is his argument. What he said. I didn't get that. I watched the video twice, and I still he should have been more angry. I don't get it. He doesn't really. I don't. Maybe I missed something in the barrage.
I mean, I guess he was pissed. I didn't watch the Joe Rogan and his interview with him, but I mean, I think Cenk was pissed that that guy didn't like destroy Joe Rogan, or he didn't like completely make a fool out of Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he doesn't give a substitute answer for his answers or anything. He just says you should have clarified that it's used for blah, not used for blah. The other, what is it? Advil is not used for cancer. That's the example he gives.
Yeah.
So, Jesus, very angry. But again, it was prescribed by doctor. I don't get so angry about this. So worked up.
Joe Rogan is not the doctor of the US. I mean, at one point, he actually, the thing about Joe Rogan with the COVID thing is, wherever you stand on it, at the very least, it seems like everything he's saying, he himself completely believes it, right? So what are you going to do? This is what Joe Rogan believes. There's no need of you getting this angry, and he's not the doctor. I know he probably has influenced a lot of people, but
he was angry because he has to wear mask. Because the unvaccinated, they all follow Joe Rogan,
and
was ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, his madness was righteous because he said he was forced to wear a mask because of the unvaccinated.
Yeah,
I believe.
So he himself is spreading misinformation.
Yeah, it kind of seems, from what I understand. I mean, I'm not up to date on the medical things. But yeah, it's just just I don't get it. Why is he so? I mean, I do. Apparently, they're like doing really badly in terms of views and all that. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, maybe that's the financial pressure. It's just getting. But yeah, I mean, although I did look at their channel, they still get a lot of views, but maybe not that much more than Kyle Kalinske.
Yeah, I mean, I think TYT, if you just go look at their views, of course they get views, but I guess it's putting it into context and their history and the amount of followers that they have. But Sam, let's watch a little bit more of this. We definitely won't watch the whole thing. I mean, there's no point. I just want to see Anna's part 2 because, I mean, you have to give her credit. She's like so calm and stuff. So maybe we can watch a little bit until Anna's done.
So now let's go to the core issue that they're talking about. So Gupta went on there for what? Like to theoretically address Rogan's audience so they get vaccinated and he gets them some information. Well then, brother, you gotta be prepared.
Totally.
You got ambushed in the most classic conservative way and you had no idea. So what's part of the ambush? The ambush is that they're not gonna listen to the whole 3 hours. They're gonna take it out a 2-minute clip. And then every headline is gonna say that you got owned by Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan destroyed you and Joe Rogan did this and this. And he proved that ivermectin, the CNN lied about ivermectin. And what is the impression that's going to leave everybody with? That ivermectin is effective against coronavirus, which is totally untrue. It's 100% untrue. Now, you think, well, I mean, later I kind of corrected that, I tried to correct it a little bit by debunking some of the studies. And to be fair to Gupta, he did, okay? But you have got to counteract that on the spot, and you got to not go in there unprepared and not know that Joe's going to ask you that question. He's been railing about that the whole time. You got to do a little research. So, but the thing is, people who are in mainstream media, they're obsessed with fame and celebrity. So now Joe is famous. So he's super friendly, super friendly. If he was asked that same thing from someone he thought was not credible, right or left, Gupta would have been totally dismissive, right? But he's in front of a celebrity with lots of audience. So all of a sudden he's like, I mean, okay, all right. No, wait a minute. You got to say at that moment, Joe, what the hell are you talking about? Yes, it's for horses, yes, it's for humans, but it has nothing to do with coronavirus. And you're leading people to believe that it does, and when you do, they don't take the vaccine. You're making it seem like it's a replacement for the vaccine. They don't get vaccinated, and then a huge percentage of them die. They die, Joe. They die because they listened to you and thought ivermectin was for coronavirus treatment, when it isn't. It's for tapeworm. Joe, admit it. Is it for tapeworm? Is it for tapeworm? Is it for tapeworm? Admit it, Joe. But he's not ready to do that because he's having fun with a celebrity. Well, you're doing damage to the country by going in like that.
Man, the guy believes it. The guy believes it. I mean, he literally took it himself. I mean, you want him to lie. I mean, this is what Joe Rogan believes.
and he was prescribed it by a doctor. So I assume the virus or any virus affects different people. Like I've had people who doctors prescribe them different things for the same virus or different virus. So yeah, I don't understand why are you first of all getting into a nitty gritty of his like prescription. Secondly, and because he's correct, like what he got was not the dewormer thing he's talking about. Secondly, yeah, it's just he's so like first. I mean, by the way, this is the guy who's lost the debate to Sam Harris and Ben Shapiro, two of the most like de-invited. I mean, I like the idea that he would have like had the, I would have been on my feet, I would have responded like that. Motherfucker.
He doesn't respond on the show. Like he prepared for this.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just angry
and he's just shouting. Yeah, he's just shouting. Was it this? Was it that? So I mean, and it's just and then you're hurting the nation and a huge percentage. I mean, look, there's a lot of I think, sadly, so many people have passed away. All of that. But I mean, just a bit of like control yourself. You're doing a bit of a scaremongering. A huge percentage of like people who get it, like I believe less than 2% pass away. Like chill them. Like suddenly you're damaging the nation. You're our values, family values. Suddenly I expected, so goddamn
And I
what
mean, you
was
have to give it to Cenk because I don't agree mostly with what Joe Rogan says about all kinds of things on COVID, but you have to give it to Cenk to somehow make a video and make you want to take the other guy's side. I mean, only
yeah.
Cenk. And
I mean,
I
look, I
just want to
don't.
show a bit
Yeah,
of
I mean,
Anna.
it's
Yeah,
just
go
I
on.
don't know, understand who's looking to these people for medical advice. I never understood this. It's like
Some
people
do
who look
perhaps,
up
but
to celebrities for
that's
like.
unfortunate. But
I mean, whatever it is, it's not worth getting this angry about.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just.
I
I
mean,
would
it's
say
kind of
he's
like
just.
the. It
Yeah, but
reminds me
I
a bit
still.
of the Dave Chappelle thing, where they like have
Yeah, in a way, I
expectations
would
of
say
him,
at
like
least.
of him like communicating like the best way and the best thing that they want and like their messaging and all that. It just kind of, and if not, he's just gonna ruin everything in the U.S. Kind of gives me giving a lot of more power than these people have than the media has really to them. I feel.
I mean, I don't think they really. First of all, I don't think in reality they really influence people that much. Secondly, sorry, my
Where's
apologies.
Leslie?
Yeah, so even if they do, who cares? Like, yeah, I just if people want to follow, I mean, anyways, especially no, I would say like the Dave Chappelle one because it was a social issue. This is like more medical. I would say like it's like, do you look up to Brad Pitt because in like 12 Years a Slave he built
Yeah.
a house with carpentry. Now I architecture wherever I just check with Brad Pitt. What do you think of? Like it has no, it was character anyway. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean this is a real person I know, but it's just who cares. But yeah, I mean yeah, you want to go ahead maybe get to
I wanted to maybe look
the
at a
top.
few comments
Oh
just quickly since we have
sure
um
yeah
since I feel I'll just be flashing them on the screen no
yeah
time. Jack is like the wolf in
powerful
the sheep clothes. Let me see
or a
what
sheep in
else.
a well shitty well.
I can't see what is Carrot Mouth saying. I can't see Rogan even responding to this Cenk challenge. He might not even be fully aware of it. I mean, this video of Cenk only did 140,000, which for a hot topic like this is really low for their channel, and it got 12,000
Or
downvotes. I mean, he got completely
oh yeah, I saw the
destroyed.
comments. The comments were really negative towards Cenk, and he like,
Yeah.
let's just, yeah.
But yeah, oh,
Yeah,
and
I
then I
mean,
mean, yeah, I think 100%, and I mean, it's nobody from CNN. Yeah, here Carrot Mouth is saying, after the Gupta interview, the CNN crowd went right back to the same lies. I think they literally told to lie in their meetings. Yeah, I mean, they just come there for like, I mean, he just came here to slightly
oh
expand his
yeah.
audience.
Did
Get some.
did you see the Don Lemon thing with
No, no,
Sanjay
no.
Gupta? He did an interview. Don Lemon is in. I don't. He works at CNN. But anyway, basically he sort of kind of forced Sanjay Gupta to take it back.
Oh,
I mean, he
really?
took it back, and he didn't. Sanjay Gupta didn't sort of, and he tried even to say the point Joe was trying to make, and then Don Lemon cut him off. So I still think Sanjay Gupta is a good guy and all that, but like they didn't even allow him to talk, like because the segment is 5 seconds as usual of CNN, because I think the CNN programmer is like a 6-year-old with ADHD or whatever. But yeah, it's
Right.
just anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised if you look at that YouTube shit that they have. Their YouTube, like the guy who does YouTube videos on his channel, the extremely
Yeah.
child.
Vice.
Yeah, he's as
Yeah.
childish as they
It's like
get.
a baby that has overgrown baby. Like he looks like the tough. Dude, have you seen Boss Baby, the cartoon?
No. Oh yeah, but no,
Shit,
no.
but one of Boss Baby has one like baby, which is like a thug thing, like the muscle of the group. I think he looks like him.
No, that guy is super annoying. And then Super Patriot had 2 comments. One, he said that Joe Rogan is actually a genius. That's why. Where is that one? I mean, Joe Rogan is very smart. I mean, and a natural at a few things. I mean, I've kind of gotten tired of him, to be honest. But Cenk has revigorate my interest in him. And then I think this one is super true. Gupta probably they got spanked when he got back to CNN. But okay,
I mean,
let's watch the rest. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if anybody ever watched Dick Cavett, but I like Rogan's like I like the long format, and I like the guests mostly, and I like that he asks questions that I think moves the conversation forward.
Most of the time, yeah.
Unlike Don Lemon.
Yeah, can't get about that. All right, let's watch a little bit more of this.
So,
Sure, let's get to that.
by listening to all of it, the sense that I got was, number one, Sanjay Gupta is clearly a fan of Joe Rogan's podcast because he listens to it regularly. He made several references to previous episodes of the podcast, including references to pretty obscure guests. And I was like, oh, he's not BSing. He actually does, in fact, listen to Joe Rogan's podcast regularly. And the other thing that I kind of felt was that he wanted to go on the podcast in an effort to like calmly debunk some of the misinformation on Rogan's podcast, but he didn't come. He just didn't seem prepared, to be honest with you. And look, I think that Joe Rogan actually asked some pretty interesting questions. Like there were things that I learned through that podcast that I haven't really seen covered, that I want to do more research on. And it's okay to ask those questions, right? Joe Rogan's not a doctor and he's not a medical professional or expert. So it's okay to have those questions, it's okay to ask them, but it's really discouraging when the person answering those questions doesn't really seem ready to answer them.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, some of Sanjay Gupta's responses to Rogan made me question, like I'll give you a specific example and let me just be clear about something. I'm not a health professional.
Man, not bad, huh?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, I love the fact
What
that
do people in comments think? Let us know. Not bad, by
yeah,
any
I pretty much I think she's much more balanced view, and I think, I mean, if you continue, she basically goes
Yeah.
on to say that, well, I came across some new information that challenged my established view, and I can't believe it. But yeah, I would say that it's just, I don't know, I don't believe like just the kahunas and these people telling, like he's a medical professional, whatever you wanna like disagree, agree,
Yeah.
whatever, you know. So it's just the fact that they feel like they would have done a better job at like they're because she's literally criticizing Gupta, and I think I don't know. Like,
I mean, I didn't watch it, but
like
from a
I would
CNN host.
criticize him on his style, but not on substance, because he's the
Okay.
doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it, but him being a CNN host, I wouldn't be surprised if he went in there not being too prepared, maybe just like not used to it. Because yeah, when you go on the Joe Rogan podcast, you should be a little bit
No, he was
prepared.
He was really.
Was he?
He was prepared on. I think he pretended he didn't know about the whole Joe Rogan. They called CNN called because he said, "Yeah, I didn't ask why they did that because Joe Rogan asked him why did they lie or why did they say that." But everything else, I mean, when they talked about the science issues, from the 20 minutes I've seen, seemed very substantive, and he was talking about. Like they talked about vaccine for younger people and all that type of thing. So you
Okay,
know,
I see.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, I mean, yeah. It's just again, it's like it feels like I have my own views about something, but I'm not gonna like go to I have my own views about civil engineering, but when it's civil engineer, I'm not gonna be like, no, well, on the substance, I think you're wrong. Like it's a bit anyway.
I mean, if you know something about it and you can like counter it.
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, of course, exactly.
Yeah.
But like at this level of like, I don't know, it just feels like, because it seems like they don't even disagree with Gupta. It seems like they're just angry he didn't put out the right information
Yeah,
at
I mean,
the right time. I don't.
they wish that he went on and made a fool out of Joe Rogan, but that's rarely gonna happen in a debate.
I also feel for Anna though. It feels like, you know, you're in one of those family gatherings and one of the family members has his usual thing that triggers him or her, usually a him,
Yeah.
to like go on a whole fucking rant. And yeah, sure, we see your point, but you're just saying maybe you should just calm down and, you know, vegetarian
Yeah.
option is not the worst thing. Just chill out. Yeah, it's just no. I've said many times. Just okay, calm down. Your heart pills are just Yeah, I feel like she's a bit stuck between a hard place and a rock there.
Okay, that's that. Let's come back here as we wrap up the story. Let's just see a few comments. People seem to be impressed by Anna for being also for a reasonable response. Yeah. Given what we see of her. Maybe
even the
she's
madman she's trapped with, who might loses it and just murder everybody. Seriously, I wouldn't feel comfortable just not agreeing with the man who's about to explode.
Man, you remember that in that video where they interview Michael Moore and Cenk, you pointed it out, and Cenk is so angry. Like, he's just so angry. He thinks like something's gonna happen, and then Michael Moore says like nice stuff about him, and he like calms down.
Yeah. Yeah.
The crazy uncle, super Patrick.
He's just like it just starts the video with like cranking his neck and just this guy, I think he knows Jimmy Dore. I'm gonna fucking murder.
But do you think Cenk? I just have a question. Do you think Cenk takes all this hate home, or he's able to like separate this? Because he has so much hate towards like a few people that he's nonstop back and forth, like beefing with them at least 2 or 3 times per week. Do you think he's able to separate this? I mean, that would be impressive. Otherwise, he must be going crazy.
For the sake of his family, I hope he does. Although, I would imagine with Twitter and all that, it's hard. I would imagine.
Hard to what?
To separate work from his work, specifically from family. But I mean, I hope he does.
Because he's beefing with Jimmy Dore, Glenn Greenwald, Joe Rogan, probably people we don't know, and he's like angry about other things that you should perhaps be angry about too. Like Glenn, I can see him tweeting and then putting his phone aside and not like caring, like just like immediately moving on to the next thing he had. But
going saving a couple of dogs. And then tweeting about that. But I do think this video and the Michael Moore video, it is making me a bit worried about his heart, I would say. Just he does seem really, really, just sometimes just chill out, man.
Yeah. But, and just one maybe some substantial comment, which is that, Cenk wants be a more effective communicator for like effective messages about COVID-19 and, for Joe Rogan to spread the right messages and stuff. But the way he's going about it and like screaming in this video for 10 minutes is definitely not helping. So if he wants to be more productive.
If you're a Joe Rogan fan, or if you're Joe Rogan, you see this reasonable take and you go, oh, I see the folly of my ways now, and I will conform to the balanced view expressed here.
And he thinks anybody who watches Joe Rogan just like believes these things. Like, for instance, I'm vegan and Joe Rogan is not vegan, and all he does is talk about his diet lifestyle, and he's obsessed with that. It doesn't mean that everybody who's listened to him is now going around shooting elks and like eating elk meat only. You know what I mean?
Only elk, not even a fucking normal deer.
Yeah.
Elk. Not reindeer. Again, it's like, we talked about it. They talk about these people as if they're like goddamn military leaders or second coming of Jesus or something. Like people, not a lot of people, including myself, haven't even moved to Spotify for Joe Rogan. You think we follow them for medical advice? I haven't bothered to download an extra app that is free.
That is true, man.
Calm down.
Exactly. Joe Rogan going to Spotify, he lost viewers. So it's not like everyone is just climbing.
I benefited a lot, though. A lot of people migrated. So,
I can imagine he's also big. Oh, damn! Look at this. Carib Moth is also vegan and a Rogan fan. I don't watch the episodes focused on hunting, and except the hunters like him don't see themselves as doing anything wrong. Yeah, and the lifestyle that he promotes with hunting, nobody else, if they're not a millionaire, can or live in a remote area, can carry it out. So it's also
Oh,
I mean, hunting your own elk meat whenever you need it and all that. I mean, and he grows his own food. God knows what he's up to in Texas on his giant land. He already
I
had
would.
chickens and stuff in LA, so I can just imagine there.
My food habits would be closer to him than to you, though. I would admit.
And that's all right.
Yeah. All right.
But okay, so let's
But
move on to another video.
this is another funny.
Yeah.
I mean, TYT should just rebrand as a comedy show, I think. I mean, this one was too good. This one was just so good. God, I like this one more.
Yeah. So this one is about pretty much
Again, no substance, pretty much.
yeah. Well, the headline of the video is fact checking Glenn Greenwald's stunt on Fox News. Should we just watch a little bit just to get a feel of the guy?
Yeah, wait. Do you? I mean, I'm of the position facts are very much like these like fact checking. Like, weren't we criticizing the mainstream a couple of years ago or months ago for using that term as if it's objective? Like there is such a thing as objective fact. Like, I'm just saying, it just seems so weird for me, somebody who's coming from a critical angle or whatever, fact checking somebody else. You can say, I have criticism of their views or I have some comments or something, but fact checking, I mean, that does what do you say, that betrays a level of, I think, arrogance that anyway.
Yeah, no,
that is not justified in this case for sure.
You're right, and yeah, so let's watch a bit.
Think is actually in charge of the government at this point.
So Glenn Greenwald and Tucker Carlson were having a conversation about the deep state. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this one is a little bit stickier to pick apart to break down what the reality is. Because we need to understand something. Of course, there is a deep state in the sense that there are government officials who are in their positions before and after presidencies, and that not every single person in the government is entirely replaced whenever we elect a new president. It is also true that the government officials who are in these positions largely report to Congress, which is a very important detail because you see the president of the United States is responsible for executing the law as it is, and the executive branch and all of its agencies are there to serve that purpose. Now, the core misunderstanding here that Glenn Greenwald has, and you'll see this in a second, is that he seems to think that these professional government officials shouldn't be following the law that Congress has established, but instead should be operating at the sole discretion of the president.
Days before Trump was inaugurated, when he had posted something critical.
Yeah,
Wait.
Go ahead.
First of all, he says this, I'm gonna admit, this is a bit, this one is about like this. Like, he does a whole series of this. Like, there's a whole series of. If I knew this, I wouldn't be doing this today. I would be watching. Like, I love to watch his comedy show, but yeah, I love that how. First of all, deep state. It does not refer to. That's like civil service, right?
But
yeah, sure, that some people say, and especially if you go to international relations, some say these people provide continuity and all that, and they do act as a part of deep state. But deep state, especially recently, but I mean, it's rooted in actually a Turkish word referring to, I think, gray wolves first time or something. Anyway,
yeah, I was
like
reading that.
Yeah, he's just completely mixing up pretty much civil service, which is the like. You could argue, yes, in some definitions they are like deep state, but
sometimes I take that kind of very simple definition of deep state, which is just people who aren't elected, people who work in the government and they aren't elected to their position.
I mean, that's a good definition, I would say, if you're like do a tech academic study or something. But I would say, generally speaking, when we are talking about deep state, we are talking about like a few, usually men, white, usually, that are like controlling, like, and I think we are referring to people like people from business community, from couple of governmental officials, like the wise men that after World War II really guided American foreign policy, like Dean Acheson. if I'm pronouncing his name right. People like him. I think he was an advisor. I don't think he had he would be appointed to different positions. Or somebody, let's say, like John Bolton or something like that, or Dick Cheney. They move between. Reminds me of the great book, The Power Elite by C. Wright Mill. I think he wrote it in 1950s or something. But yeah, they move. He has a great quote. I'm paraphrasing. These people move around within a state and business.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, your definition is also correct, I think. But at the minimum, he's just mixing up those two definitions.
No.
And you're right. I mean, yeah, that's a fair enough definition too.
And
so yeah.
I mean, the guy in general in the video, if you take his words and sentences at by themselves, he'll say something that is perhaps right, but then he'll just draw an insane conclusion. Or all he does, it's he reminds me of someone who would teach you how to drive by reading you a textbook about driving and not actually what's happening in practice. Because he says oh no, we'll see, that can't happen because the Constitution says this. There we go. It's you telling someone, oh, the police killed this innocent man. Oh no, that's not possible. The police are supposed to be there to protect people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
see.
like Joe Rogan actually doing a callback. He talks about shooting bullets, and what's the Kennedy assassination, the thing. People talk about that, a wind, a sudden wind can change a whole, real life is not exact science, So yeah, and I think he's just, his conclusions are just,
insane,
unfounded, I would say. It's just, he just completely has different conclusion to what Glenn just said. No, I'm concluding this based on it. But it just really annoyed me that he's doing this fact checking. So I at least give clear definitions, or at least. But no, I'm gonna just be this is a tricky one. And by the way, how old are you? Who are you? What? I mean, we get to who is he, how he defines himself.
True, forgot about that.
Jesus. Yeah.
Let's play a bit more, because he also does this thing with clips, what he says before after the clip doesn't match the clip whatsoever. Some people think just because they play the clip, it proves their point, but no, the clip that you play needs to make sense with what you said.
Your conclusion has nothing to do with the clip. I played Carrot Top, and so because of that, now CIA. What? Anyway,
let's watch a bit.
Criticizing the CIA for getting Iraq wrong, and Chuck Schumer said, ethics aside, how can Donald Trump be so stupid as to do that to the CIA? If you challenge the CIA, they have 6 different ways to Sunday to get back at you.
Now, this part is to a certain degree correct. The CIA does have a long history of subverting presidencies to a certain degree, of course, when the CIA had planned out the Bay of Pigs and then presented it to John F. Kennedy and sort of pressured John F. Kennedy to give approval. But the Bay of Pigs is also a demonstrative example, because when Allen Dulles went to JFK to ask for an air invasion of Cuba, JFK said no. And there wasn't an air invasion of Cuba, and the Bay of Pigs was allowed to fail. Donald Trump saying that the CIA...
Man, people have roasted him for this. For this example.
Besides by the way, historically even he's not that correct. The idea that Khrushchev and Soviet Union had nothing to do with the fact that U.S. didn't do an air invasion. By the way, again, Chapo Trap House points that. It's not Chapo Trap House. Matt Christensen, one of them, on another show points out that what happened to that president who went against CIA?
I mean, we don't know exactly what happened, right? But it is a horrible example.
But George Bush had it is the it's just what happened to that guy.
Right.
It's just and it's but just historically he's wrong. Kennedy was an anti-communist crazy person as well. And by the way, Kennedy was, if anybody was part of deep state, it was Kennedy and his grandfather, they stole. Kennedy won the election. By the way, talking about the stolen election, Kennedy stole Chicago. Kennedy stole the whole of what's the state? Chicago State.
Illinois.
Illinois. Like they did. Like anyway, like if you want to get into it, you can. Like you could argue Kennedy was the deepest state.
But yeah, that's a horrible example. Let's play a bit more because I have one main point that I would like to make, and I want to hear him say it.
Before getting to his definition of himself, I really love it.
Got it wrong is to a certain extent true about the Iraq War. But we also need to understand this. It was not the
Man, the examples that he picks, the Iraq War and
official position of the entire CIA that Iraq had chemical weapons. It was the position of one sub-agency that was specifically oriented towards chemical weapons. They used the testimony of one witness that later proved to be uncredible to make that claim. That claim.
Okay, so this is a recurring theme that he has in his analysis. I don't know if you did a bit of organization study.
That's true, but that's
and it's but
that's,
so
that's
I mean, what does he think that every single person in the organization works on every single thing together? He's like, oh no, that was just this unit who works on this. No, what did you want? The unit that's responsible for something else?
I spoke to most of the janitors that work in Pentagon, and they don't know anything about any planned coup d'etats or anything like that. No, none of them. None of them mentioned it. Not one janitor. Or
the cafeteria lady, she used to protest during the 70s. She was a hippie. Wait.
The person who it's the I mean, and by the way, in military and intelligence services, why do you think they don't have accounts or they don't do audits unless they're completely forced to? And they are different factions completely fighting each other off. You could I would even I'm trying to work out maybe something to write about this, but even Nixon, the person who provided Deep Throat, it may have been inter-office rivalries. Of course, there are different factions and there are different groups, and as if ever no, we meant there is one group of people. They meet every month on the night of the full moon and smoke pipes and decide, should we do Iraq now? Yes, we should.
And even if it is just some people, okay, but at the end the CIA acted that way, right? So I mean, what's your point? So I mean, yes, the act is they did act this way. What if there was other people who didn't want it, or there was the end result was that
I think that I would say their argument is look, there are other people going against them, but I don't know. Were there? I don't remember that, but I'm sure there may have been within, but they have probably because they had different interests. They represented a different faction of Saudi royal family or something.
But
again, it's so childish. It's so goddamn childish. It's beyond
I want to get to the part.
That's why it's comedy.
But I don't think we'll get to the part where he talks about how the military depends on Congress, and if they don't get their funding every 2 years, they'll be cut off.
Oh my god!
I mean, he just does such literal reading of stuff. That's why I made that joke about learning how to drive by someone who just
the military is dependent on Congress. That's for sure. I mean, the whole economy has been dependent on the military since World War II, and they are dependent on a bunch of low-level crooks, not even thugs. They won't stand a chance.
But what is funny about him is that he reads and he does research, so he's not like other people who come out and talk bullshit just like that, like us, and might get some things wrong, but he specializes on a topic but then just makes the most insane kind of interpretations.
He doesn't.
I mean, it sounds like he's read about the CIA a few pages. I mean, if he were to take a test,
he has. No, but if I claim I'm an expert, it's not the same as
that's true.
I mean, look, we have some level of relevant education at least, right? And relevant work, I would say. But what he says exactly, that's the thing I didn't even get from his Twitter bio, and I don't get what is his exact.
Well, let's show to people
he talks politics and news. It's just
he's a CIA understander.
He's very young. And he's
Yeah,
very
does
young.
anybody
We
know
are
how
being
old he
harsh.
is? I don't know.
He
I
looks,
mean, okay,
he
so
looks
he's a
like 16. Like the
no, he's
orange
easily in his
and-
20s, man.
He looks very puberty,
I doubt he's that young.
like heavy.
Look, he's a CIA understander. He's a Marxist.
CIA
He's a
understander.
hear
I
him. He
just
talks
love
in news and politics, and apparently he writes too, and contributor. And man, he has one of the worst. Look at this. He follows almost 1,400 people, but only has 2,000 followers. That is really bad, I must say. Because like you follow all these people for them to follow you back. So only like
I think I have
mean,
like 1,000 people I follow, but like nobody follows me. Like,
yeah, well, I mean,
no,
I don't
never
think you
do
use it.
I
Then
just
you're not a
use-
public figure. Let's see if he tweets regularly. Yeah, he tweets.
No, but
every
wait,
day.
hang on a minute. CIA understander. Like, how do you become that? How what exactly are the? Yeah.
But he's the most
Anyway.
weirdest. I mean, you say it's normal, but he's the most
I
random
mean, he was-
person because he believes that Congress lies or is incompetent. I think he believes that the executive branch, whether it's Democrat, Republicans, can lie and stuff. But the CIA suddenly he like talks about them as if he's their spokesperson. That's one thing that I found really weird.
CIA. Yeah, he's too fractured to be called liars. There are good people there too. That's, I guess, I don't know. But does he say anything about Congress and executive being liars or corruptible? I don't remember.
Yeah. Let's watch a bit more. But towards them, he doesn't have the same. Like he's not defending them in that way. Let's watch a little bit more. See what else he says.
Was then funneled up to President Bush in order to pressure him to go into the Iraq War, and was used as justification for the Iraq War. And even then, that example is telling, and it's very important, because it wasn't the entire agency of the CIA. It was one specific subunit. Based on the history of the CIA, this is how these things tend to operate anyway. The work
Pressure
that can be
George
seen-
Bush. Anybody needed to.
Yeah,
Like anybody needed to pressure George Bush to going to war with Iraq. Like he did that was like Dick Cheney's wet dream from 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
And
Again, though, that's like somebody mentioned. He's young. I feel bad
Yeah.
now because he does look very young. So I don't
no
want.
man, what he's like
Like,
5
but
or
he
6
does
years
seem like
younger than us.
to
How
know
old do you
nothing.
think? How young do you think he is? He's probably mid-20s.
I think under 24. I would say. But whatever.
I
I
don't
don't care. But I
It's
mean,
just funny. I mean, his points.
It's just level of ignorance, like about Iraq War. Like it's not that. I mean, I don't know. Like you
Yeah,
could
no,
read
he.
upon that.
he-
Read on.
But
that,
I love. He
read
also
about
says
that.
like in the history of the CIA, it's always been like this. It's always been a small part of the agency who does something bad. I think, and he's like read this history. It just amazes me. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan.
I don't know if we have much else to say. Let's watch 30 seconds.
I
being
saw
more
a really. No, sorry. Did
Should I play
somebody
30
compare me
seconds?
to a, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll come back.
Political or outside the norms of what you would expect, especially when it comes to fabricating evidence to try and bully a president into starting a war. Those things are typically not done within the main body of the CIA itself, but are done.
I go to sleep with it on, I wake up and I look well rested.
Oh man, I think that was a